not a murder hobo. I like the murder hobo meme. I think it's funny. I think a lot of times it's spot on. But I don't think that most characters are murder hobos. And I don't think that most adventures are murder hobo stories. However, I do think that there are ways to avoid those elements in a game. I especially dislike the hobo part. Most of the time, it seems like our characters swoop in and they solve other people's problems. They're like Saturday morning cartoon characters or 1980s heroes. Most adventurers are part of the A-Team. And I like the A-Team. The A-Team's cool. But I'd like to suggest there are other ways to run a game. I would like to suggest today that instead of having the players solve other people's problems, you make the plot their problem. Say you want a village threatened by hobgoblin raiders and the farmers are asking for help. If you have a halfling PC, make the village a halfling village, and the farmer asking for help a cousin, a sibling, or an uncle of the PC. If your group is so inclined, you can add a lot of role-playing into this type of storyline. Maybe the PC has an embarrassing nickname, or is estranged from his parents, or maybe runs across a former love interest who has married another because the PC has gone adventuring. But even if it's just hack and slash, the reward is greater because now you've added an emotional element to the storyline. Now, when you do this kind of storytelling, make sure you include the players. Have them come up with a lot of the details for the storyline. What does a farm matter anyways, the composition of the farm in your campaign world? Let the players dabble in it. Ask the players to come up with stories about their character's background that shows off what those characters are like, how those characters developed. Have Uncle Elmo tell the other players that story. Having the player actually be the storyteller, incorporating them in. It gives them more buy-in, gives them a chance to be a little bit creative, kind of wet their feet in being a DM, as it were, and it'll add a lot. And now, the players really care about that village. Yes, Mom. Yes, no, Mom. No, I'm not killing any peasants. I promise. No, Mom. All right, I'll be home soon. Bye. So give the characters an emotional context for the adventure. It's their family. It's their town. It's their group, their government that is in trouble, that they need to help. Maybe their sibling is the one that gets kidnapped instead of some random noble. Maybe it's their sibling that did the kidnapping, and they have a brother or sister that has turned to evil. And now they have to rescue the kidnapped victim, and they also have to try to rescue the sibling. Now, they can't just go in and kill everybody, because one player's mission is different from all the other players' mission. They're not there to save the princess. They're there to save their brother. But it doesn't have to be just emotional context that you can give to players. I had a lawful evil empire turned into a lawful neutral kingdom by the players. And that was never my intention, but it kind of just happened. And it made my campaign world so much more interesting, and it made the story so much better. Many of my favorite adventures have been when I've given political power to the PCs. I've made them the king. I've made them the nobles. I've given them the merchant empire. I've given them the library that they have to guard. Whatever it is, this has made a lot of interesting storylines. And my friends are really good about totally messing up any plans that I've ever had. And 90% of the time, it's a beautiful thing. And the story that ends up is so much better than the one that I had originally crafted. But I can do that by giving them that political power. letting them make the decisions. And yes, that changes my campaign world forever. It changes the history, it changes countries, and that's fine. That makes it more dynamic, it makes it more organic, it makes it seem more real, and it causes the players to buy in that much more.
Take the classic merchant caravan story. You are hired to guard this caravan through dark danger forest. That's fine, but what if you made it religious pilgrims instead? Now the cleric and the paladin have a reason to come along. Maybe the fighter is there to escort his mother, who always wanted to go to the shrine. Maybe the thief has agreed to go to atone for her sins, and this is her only chance at clemency. You're going to have the exact same plots as before, with attacking goblins and the mysterious stranger on the road and finding the missing dungeon. But this time, because the characters care more about the caravan, the players will too, and they will care much more about victory.
Now, you can do this for campaigns, or you can do this for one-shot adventures. It's as simple as adding one sentence to a character sheet. You are doing this for your country, for your family. Even my pet giant frog monster? Yes, even your pet giant frog monster. As a DM, give your players that emotional, political, social contact, that connection that makes them care about the story, that makes the story their problem. As a player, design a character to have that background so that there are things that your character cares about. And as always, happy adventuring. Wandering around doing stupid things, that's fun when you're a teenager. But when you get older, you really don't want to do anything silly.